All right, welcome here to the quick review of the Sennheiser Momentum2, also known as HD1 in other countries. Now, these headphones, you'll notice they do have a piece of tape around here. That's because I've sliced these open into an attempt to repair them when I was replacing the battery. But otherwise, the leather headband has held up just fine. It was only once I took a razor blade to them that they needed the tape back up, because it's not too easy to repair. Now, the only problems I've had with these in, let's see, 7 years of owning them, it's 2023 now, and I purchased them around 2015, so I guess that's more like 8 years, is the cushions have worn out and I replaced them. That goes with any headphones basically. Then the battery would not charge and seemingly was disconnected because I could not turn on the headphones anymore. It turns out it was a short in the electrical components somewhere, and by taking these apart and putting them back together, it was just moving some wires around that ended up fixing that issue. Now, other than that, these have been absolutely perfect, and I would buy them again in a heartbeat. I almost bought a backup pair that sold on eBay not 10 days ago that sold for $47. And these are the ivory cups here that are a little more sought after than the black one. However, the white cups can be removed fairly easily. You take off the cushion, you take off a couple screws, and you're able to paint those any color you want with just spray paint or whatever you want to do. So I suggest you do that if you're wanting to get a better deal, maybe on the black ones that show up on eBay ever so often. And for $50, I would totally buy these again. They don't sound like 10-year-old headphones. They sound absolutely fine. The wireless still works. There's very basic functionality. You compare to two devices, and they sound amazing. And not only that, I can wire them in to my phone or other device that has an aux port. Fortunately, this does have a 2.5 millimeter connection on one side, and then the standard 3.5 for whatever device you're using. So that's too bad. But anyways, these are great headphones. They don't look like they'd be too hard to modify to take USB-C. They do take mini USB, which is unfortunate, or micro, whatever it's called. But that's being phased out. It's not a huge deal. They're a little picky about charging, so I have to use an absolutely brand new cable to charge these. And so far, pretty easy to take apart and repair. So I'd highly recommend picking up a pair of these today. They look really good on the head. I think they have a retro feel to them. People have asked, are these 40-year-old headphones? No, they're not. I use these at the gym and elsewhere, and because it's a completely metal headband, you can bend these to your heart's content, and you may notice that mine are not perfectly round anymore. That's because I've bent them in to give them a tighter feel, and with tighter pressing on your head, you also get a little bit more noise cancellation as well, just from the pressure. So these sound absolutely amazing. Bending them is about the only thing I've really had to do after owning them for 8 years, and putting a little O-ring right here to prevent these from adjusting themselves when you're wearing them for a long time. That's just a rubber O-ring that's 10 cents or whatever. But other than that, and taking them apart and replacing the battery, really no problems. You can get a battery for $10, $15 on Amazon or eBay, or they're out there. Anyways, but what you may consider instead is around the same time, or maybe a little later, Sony came out with the XM 10002 or whatever. They've got the XM10, the XM4, and so on. Now, these are my wife's headphones, and they work just as well as the Sennheisers. I'd say they don't look as nice. They are a little bit more comfortable. They have the stock ear pads still. They haven't worn out just because we haven't used them as much. One of the features here that the Sennheisers don't have is this has a on and off switch for the noise cancellation, whereas the Sennheisers always have that on when the headphones are turned on. These also have an aux port, but it's the standard 3.5 millimeter size. I can plug that in right there. So that's kind of cool, much better than the smaller 2.5, at least in my opinion. Also uses micro USB, and the noise canceling is definitely a little bit better. I think they have better microphone technology or software or something in here that's providing a little bit better noise cancellation experience than the Sennheisers. However, I'd still pick the Sennheisers. I think they sound a little bit better. Of course, that's subjective. I think you'd be happy with either one of these. I have taken these apart as well just to see if I could use the battery from here and here, but they are different. This uses a different battery that looks a little bit easier to replace, but I haven't looked into finding a replacement battery. It just slots in though, which looks pretty nice. So far these have worked excellently. They do work a little better with Bluetooth somehow. And they do have like a touchpad on the side where you can control the volume of the headphones independently of Windows. So when I'm streaming to both headsets at a time when we're watching a movie, using Voicemeeter Banana or something like that, I crank these up on Windows and then she can lower the volume here and it won't lower my volume. So that's kind of a nice feature that it has localized volume control on the headphones. Other than that, I'd say go with whatever one of these is cheaper, that you like the looks the best. The noise canceling is noticeably better on this one, but if you can bend these in and get a little bit nicer ear cushions, they even out pretty good, and I listen to these loud enough anyways that it doesn't really bother me. So I think that concludes my 8-year review of the Momentum2s. I'm going to be wearing these until they explode or disintegrate, which I don't think they will. After taking these apart, just about every piece of them, they seem very well constructed. This leather stitching had not started to fray in 8 years, and I'll add that I purchased these refurbished on eBay, by the way, for around $150 back in 2014 or 2015 whenever I did buy them. So they were used and repaired, and they're still doing great. The metal, the fake leather, these plastics, they're all nice quality. Yeah. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. And these cushions, by the way, are the Wicked ear cups. They're great. Wicked cushion. I'll add I do wear these around 12 hours straight in a day. I have a crying baby in the house, and they're perfect.